You do not leave enemy strongholds behind you. That is the rule every Navy officer is taught. You capture islands one by one. You destroy the enemy where he stands. You never, ever allow a hostile base to remain at your back. For decades, military academies taught this as gospel. Because history punished those who ignored it. A bypassed fortress could resupply itself. It could strike your supply lines. It could wait patiently, and then cut your throat. Imperial Japan believed this rule as deeply as anyone. Their entire Pacific strategy rested on it. Build island fortresses. Force the enemy to smash themselves against them. Bleed them white. By 1943, nowhere embodied that belief more completely than Rabaul. Rabaul was not just a base. It was a monster. 5 airfields. Over 100,000 Japanese troops. Coastal guns that could punch holes through cruisers. Submarine pens carved into volcanic rock. A fortress so strong that Japanese commanders openly called it impregnable. And sitting across the table from them was a man with a reputation. Admiral William Bull Halsey. A fighter pilot's soul in a battleship admiral's body. A commander famous for aggression, profanity, and speed. Every expert said the same thing. Every planner agreed. You must take Rabaul. But in late 1943, Halsey looks at the map. Looks at the casualty estimates. Looks at the clock. And he breaks the rule. Not with a climactic battle. Not with a glorious invasion. But with something far more devastating. You are William Frederick Halsey Jr., age 61. You have white hair, a bulldog face, and a voice that sounds like gravel in a blender. You graduated from Annapolis in 1904. You learned to fly at 52 just so you could command carriers. You are not a careful man. You are a decisive one. Your sailors adore you. Your superiors tolerate you. Your enemies fear you. By 1943, the Pacific War has changed. Japan is no longer advancing. Midway is gone. Guadalcanal is lost. But Japan is not beaten. Their war machine still feeds on oil from the Dutch East Indies. Rubber from Malaya. Bauxite, nickel, food, and men flowing north. And guarding those arteries sits Rabaul. Every Japanese convoy passes under its shadow. Every Allied move in the South Pacific feels its reach. The Army wants it taken. The Navy expects it neutralized. Washington assumes it will be assaulted. The cost? American planners estimate 60,000 casualties. Maybe more. You read the reports. You study the aerial photos. And you ask a question that changes the war. What if you don't take it? What if, instead of smashing your fist against Japan's strongest wall, you walk around it? What if you don't conquer the fortress, but starve it? The idea sounds insane. Even reckless. Leave 100,000 enemy troops intact behind your lines? Trust that they won't strike? But you see something others don't. Rabaul only matters if it can move. If it can fly. If it can sail. So you plan something radical. Operation Cartwheel. A slow, methodical noose. Seizing small, useless islands. Building airstrips. Cutting shipping lanes. Not glory. Not headlines. Just pressure. And now in late 1943 you commit. You do not attack Rabaul. You isolate it. And the moment you do, the Japanese don't panic. They laugh. The first air raid hits Rabaul on November 5, 1943. You do not send battleships. You do not send an invasion fleet. You send 97 aircraft. Fighters. Dive bombers. Torpedo planes. They roar in low, skimming the water. Japanese radar detects them late. Fighters scramble. Flak opens up. The sky turns violent. Engines scream. Metal snaps. The air smells like fuel and cordite. In less than 15 minutes, the raid cripples shipping in the harbor. 6 warships damaged. Airfields cratered. Fuel dumps burning. And then you pull back. No landing. No follow-up invasion. Just silence. The Japanese are confused. This isn't how wars are fought. So they wait. Then the next blow lands. You seize Bougainville. Not the whole island. Just a narrow strip at Cape Torquemada. Engineers land under fire. Bulldozers grind forward. Within weeks, airstrips appear where jungle stood. From there, American fighters begin to prowl. Every Japanese transport that leaves Rabaul is spotted. Tracked. Hunted. Submarines take their turn. You don't hear them coming. That's the point. A periscope. A calculation. 4 torpedoes. One convoy disappears in 90 seconds. Another is shredded at night. Another never arrives. The Japanese begin rationing. Rice first. Then fuel. Then ammunition. Pilots are grounded to save gas. Training flights stop entirely. By mid-1944, Rabaul's air force is functionally dead. But the garrison is still there. Hungry. Angry. Useless. Inside the tunnels, soldiers scrape mold off rice balls. They boil weeds. They trade rifles for sweet potatoes with terrified locals. No reinforcements come. Tokyo promises relief. It never arrives. Month after month, Allied planes pass overhead and ignore them. Think about that. Imagine sitting in a fortress built for battle. and realizing the enemy has decided you don't matter. By 1945, over 100,000 Japanese troops remain trapped. They fire not a single decisive shot again. They do not influence one major battle. They simply rot. Mid-roll seat. If you find this kind of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, sacrifice, and quiet genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. The news titans elsewhere. New Guinea. The Admiralties. The Marshalls. Each island taken isn't glamorous. Often it's barely defended. But each one adds another airfield, another submarine base, another choke point. Japanese commanders finally understand. They haven't been outfought. They've been outthought. Their strongest fortress has become a prison. And there is nothing they can do. What they didn't know was how total the damage would be. By isolating Rabaul, you didn't just neutralize a base. You shattered Japan's entire defensive logic. Other garrisons realized the truth too late. Palau. Each is bypassed. Each is left to starve. The Japanese Navy hemorrhages shipping. From 1943 to 1945, Japan loses over 8 million tons of merchant shipping. Factories shut down. Aircraft sit unfinished. Pilots lack fuel. The war doesn't end with a single blow. It ends with strangulation. When Allied forces finally move toward Japan itself, resistance is fierce, but hollow. The war machine is empty. And Rabaul? It surrenders without a fight. When the war ends, Allied troops enter Rabaul cautiously. They expect a trap. Instead they find ghosts, emaciated soldiers, rusting guns, airfields swallowed by grass. Over 100,000 men lay down their arms. Men who trained for a decisive battle that never came. Admiral Halsey doesn't celebrate. He simply moves on. He retires in 1947. He dies in 1959, at age 77. His strategy doesn't get monuments. It doesn't get movies. Because starvation is quiet. And patience doesn't look heroic. But it worked. Today Rabaul is a town. Children play where bombers once burned. Few remember the campaign meant to take it. And that's the point. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that William Halsey and the 100,000 men trapped at Rabaul do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.